Danny here with the Huron Tractor Precision Ag Group. We're near Port Elgin here today on June the 11th. We've got a soybean demonstration plot here that we've established. So this plot is 7.5 inch row soybeans. We put down 185,000 seeds of the acre with the 1890-1910 4-to-1 MAP and sulfate of potash blend went down with the seed. So we're just out here today doing some stand evaluations. Things are looking pretty good that way. This is, I guess, minimum till type of situation with a heliodor here earlier this spring, and then planted with the 1890-1910 air cart drill combination. So what we're going to try and attempt to do is later this year, around the beginning of July, we will take a flight of this farm using Devron drone imagery. So one of our partners, Devron, we're able to provide drone imagery through Huron Tractor. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this drone imagery and we're going to try and differentiate, okay, where are those high biomass areas versus those thinner parts of the farm. And what the concept is we're going to do a selective fungicide spray using the John Deere sprayer with section control enabled. And so what we can do is we can generate a prescription from that drone image so that we can create zones where we want to apply fungicide and zones where we don't want to apply fungicide. And we can have this all happen automatically on the go using our John Deere sprayer with section control. The beauty of it is we're also going to incorporate check blocks or Veriblocks as designed by our partner Veritas Farm Management so that we can validate the results of this trial and be able to determine whether there was an economic return on investment to this application. We've been doing some stand counts. We're in 7.5 inch rows here, so we've been using the hula hoop method to try and estimate stand counts. We've done a few counts with the tape measure as well to get a little more accuracy. Well, we're seeing some gaps in the stands and maybe a little bit lighter of population than we thought we would have. So we're checking for seed here, and what we're finding is some of it with the drill was maybe planted just a little bit shallow. However, now that we've got this shot of rain, we've been digging up the seed, and what we're finding actually, if we can get the camera on here, is we're finding some some radicals starting on some of these seeds. And so at the end of the day, I feel pretty optimistic that some of these seeds are going to continue to grow, and I think we may end up with a thicker stand than we have currently. Obviously, these beans maybe will have a bit of a yield drag compared to something that's almost at our V1 stage. Today is Thursday, July the 9th. We're at our soybean selective fungicide spray demonstration plot here. We're doing some scouting pre-drone flight here to try and get timing as best as possible. So we're here just checking out plants for flowering, seeing what crop stage we're at. We're kind of nearing that R2 stage where we're hopefully going to get some flowers on those upper nodes there. What's interesting is we are seeing some flowers, what looks like aborting, probably due to this hot weather with very little water. Seeing some variability in our stand as we observed earlier in the year, but overall okay. But certainly some spots like this where there's bare soils, where maybe our fungicide spray might selectively need to turn off. However, as we walk over in this direction, we are on 7.5 inch rows, so we do have some thicker canopies in certain spots of the farm, so there may be a benefit to some fungicide. However, with this weather pattern and the way things have been going, not sure about that, but still a trial that we're going to be willing to experiment with in this dry season of 2020 and take a look and see what happens as the year progresses here. But as we're looking at these plants, there is some flowering going on there, but as mentioned, some of those flowers possibly aborting there.
Here's the natural color image from our drone flight on July the 22nd. You can see areas of the field which are less green, indicating poor canopy cover. The NDVI imagery from the drone further classifies these areas where we may have less of a canopy in the soybeans, and perhaps an indication of where we should and should not be applying fungicide.
So let's take a look now at ground truthing this drone image and what we actually saw on the ground in the field. So we did some scouting here in early July, as mentioned previously. We utilized the My Operations app with our cell phone while we were in the field, being able to show us the location. And we also had this Farm Shots NDVI imagery in the background to guide us. And so what we did using this imagery is we were able to use the flags feature to identify certain locations in the field. For example, zooming in on this poor NDVI area, we can select this flag, and I've attached a picture here to give you an idea of what it actually looked like on the ground. So you can see a much thinner stand, a lot more soil showing in that particular area. If we click on this one, I've just got a note here, thick, and that kind of corresponds with our higher yielding, or our more NDVI, higher NDVI area. Clicking over here, doesn't look like I left any notes there. I have a note for thin there, especially thin on here on the side slope, had very poor emergence there in our soybean stand. If we go up to some of these other areas, let's select on this flag over here. You can see in that yellow NDVI area, much thicker canopy than in those orange and red areas. And up front here in this green area, yeah, very, very lush canopy up there. So certainly, I think there's some validity to the using this imagery, as well as the drone imagery that was very similar to this in implementing a selective fungicide spray application.
Using the drone imagery, our collaborators, Veritas Farm Management, created a selective fungicide spray prescription. The red areas in this image will not be sprayed, and the green areas will be sprayed. Further, Veritas has put in check blocks or Veriblocks in order to validate and confirm that the prescription was useful in making us more profit on the farm. So while spraying the field, you can see on the display here, we currently have all sections enabled, spraying the full boom width at 20 gallon per acre. As we approach the area where we selectively chose to turn it off, you can see our sections independently turning off one by one using section control until the entire boom width is off all at once. Now, as we pass through this zone of non-spray back into an area where we want to spray, you will see selectively, one by one, the sections will turn on again and re-enable the application of 20 gallons per acre.
Following the application, coming back into the John Deere Operations Center, we can now see the as-applied documentation layer generated by the sprayer. And we can see in yellow and the colors here, areas which fungicide was applied to, and areas where we see the satellite imagery coming through is where there's no documentation and product was not applied. We can also see these Veriblocks scattered throughout the different areas in order to validate our prescription. So within Operations Center, we're looking at the overview still of the Triva Pro as applied rate. Let's switch to overlay mode instead. And as our second layer, let's select our soybean harvest map. So now we have the two layers up on the map there. You can see for our layer 2 in orange, our soybean harvest, we have this opacity function, so we can show it 100%. So on the west side of the field here, it was harvested by one combine. On the east side of the field, it was a second combine that harvested that portion. So let's just hide that harvest map just for the time being. Now, let's zoom in and maybe think about a way that we might be able to evaluate this prescription. So Veritas has these various check blocks within here.
So this zone here was an area where we wanted to spray, and we left these check blocks where we did not spray. So let's use this polygon tool up at the top of the map here, and this allows us to select and drop points to highlight a specific region within the field. So let's just look at this small check block here for one moment. So looking at that check block, it averaged 75.2 bushels to the acre. So that's without spray. So let's go in the center here of these two check blocks, an area where we did apply the fungicide, see if there's an increase in yield. 73.7 bushels in this case. So no. Let's check out this other check block here and see what the yield is in this area. 67.1. So comparing those two, we would say there is an increase in our fungicide application. Let's take a look at another area adjacent to this block, 73.9. So looking here, we're 76.4 bushels. So there is an increase there due to the fungicide. So let's pull it down here to this block where fungicide was not applied as well. Let's take a look at that. So it's saying 73.1 bushels to the acre there. Let's take a look in between the two check blocks again. 75.7, so a couple bushel increase there to the fungicide application. So obviously you can see how tedious and cumbersome this could be to compare all these small check blocks to an adjacent area beside. And so this is where our partner Veritas Farm Management comes in and helps us do all this work in the background, ensuring that we have this proper replication to statistically validate our prescription. And so let's take a look at some of the output which they've produced using their algorithms. Let's take a look at some of the output from the Veritas reports. So in order to qualify some of this analysis, we need to first highlight some assumptions that were made. So there was an assumption made that the selling price was $13 per bushel of soybean. The cost of application with chemical was $16 per acre. Our drone flight cost us $2.50 per acre, and our prescription was $4 per acre cost. So let's look now at the actuals. So we selectively sprayed fungicide. So in this red area, we sprayed, and in this green area, we did not spray. And what this is indicating is the analysis shows that we increased profit due to being selective in both of these regions. So where we selectively sprayed, we increased profit from $13.41 to $15.32, so an average of $14.37. In areas where we did not spray, we averaged $15.32 to $17.22, an average of $16.27 in those areas. So when we take this across the whole field and look at 125 acres, that gives us an average total profit across the farm of nearly $2,000 due to being selective with our fungicide spray. So let's look at some hypothetical scenarios if we were to have changed this. So what if we were to have, instead of selectively sprayed the entire field? So we sprayed both the red and the green areas. Well, the red areas, the analysis would remain the same because we sprayed those in the selective option. So our profit is still $14.37 per acre. But in the green area, if we were to spray where we shouldn't have, we actually would have lost money. Basically, we would have lost the cost of our application. That's $16.27 per acre. And so doing the math, overall, we would still have a net profit, but a lot smaller, $217.34 across that whole field. Now, what if the entire field was not sprayed? What if we decided that? Well, in that red area where we selectively sprayed, in this scenario, we would not have sprayed it at all. And so we would have lost money in those regions. And so we would have the yield boost that we would have lost is worth basically a bushel of beans, $14.37. In those green areas that were not sprayed in the original scenario, we actually would have still made money there, the $16.27. But on a whole field, due to those red areas being larger, 74 acres versus 52 acres, we're actually losing money in this scenario where we left a little bit of money on the table. So we would have had a negative loss of $217.34. If you'd like to learn more about our HT Precision Pro services, including our selective fungicide spraying applications, head to www.hurontractor.com. On the site, there's a menu called Precision Ag. Go to Precision Ag, select HT Precision Pro. Under HT Precision Pro, you will find different services that are available through our partnership with Veritas. Select on Imagery. Under Imagery, there'll be some more information there regarding what's available, as well as a downloadable PDF with some more details. If you'd like to see some more information about our Huron Tractor plots, head to Precision Ag on our website. Go to our demo plots link. At this link, you can find information and videos about our various demo plots, and you can click to go in depth on different plots and see a list of all available videos from throughout the year, as well as some of the results from this 2020 harvest season.